The Knicks have done it again. Just when you think they're out of the game, they do the unthinkable. Again, down 20 points. They rally back and they steal game 3 from the Indiana Pacers. Just like in game 1, where the Knicks choked that game and gave it to Indiana. Indiana choked game 3 and gave it to the Knicks. Karl-Anthony Towns was amazing, scoring 20 straight fourth quarter points. Miles McBride, when he came in that third quarter, changed the game for New York. Josh Hart and key essential rebounds. But the main reason that the Knicks won this game was because of the adjustments. Tom Thibodeau was masterful in his execution. We now have a series on our hands. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. But before we get started, about 52% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. And now, let's get started. The Knicks steal game 3 as the Pacers choke in the second half. The Knicks have never beaten the Indiana Pacers in Indiana on the road in the Eastern Conference Finals ever before. We were 0-9 entering last night's game. And for a while there, it was looking like we were never going to break that record, especially when you consider how the first half of last night's game went. Tom Thibodeau made an adjustment. He took out Karl-Anthony Towns, and then we only had one center in the game. That lineup was effective early on. It allowed the Knicks to not go down early, not be down in a huge deficit, and the double big lineup was able to get extra possessions for New York. But I thought that first quarter changed when the Knicks made an adjustment by changing out Karl-Anthony Towns, effectively stopping that double big lineup a little bit too early. He brought in Josh Hart. Now, I would have not made that move so early because I thought Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson were effective. But when he made that move, the Pacers started to attack even more, and the Knicks started to foul, and they got into foul trouble extremely early, including off the bench with Deuce McBride. McBride picked up 3 quick fouls in the first quarter when he came into the game. Once that happened, it changed everything for New York and what they were going to do moving forward for the rest of that game. Now, there were a lot of reasons why the Knicks were losing that first half against the Indiana Pacers in game 3. They were allowing the Pacers to attack in transition. The Pacers defense was smothering New York. They were getting steals, and when they were getting steals, they were running. The Pacers run off of everything. A rebound, a steal, a deflection, a made ball. It doesn't matter what happens. The Pacers, all they want to do is run and try to get the easiest baskets that they can get. And New York was allowing them to do that. More than that, New York was allowing the Pacers to run and then get back on defense because New York, with their pace, was not trying to match the Indiana Pacers' pace. They were trying to play their own pace. And while I can understand that, Indiana took full advantage of it, especially in that second quarter where they blew open the game. They were hitting everything, looking like they were not going to miss a shot, moving the ball, getting easy baskets, and they had a 20-point lead on the Knicks. They're hitting all of their shots, moving the ball, playing well as a team. The Knicks not playing great as a team, not moving the ball well, and missing so many shots. We're making adjustments, but at the time, they just weren't working. And as I mentioned earlier, the Knicks were dealing with foul trouble, not only to Miles McBride, but Jalen Brunson had 4 fouls at the end of the first half. And Karl-Anthony Towns, he had 3 fouls at the end of that first half. And even into the third quarter, the Indiana Pacers were maintaining a 15-point lead. I felt sick to my stomach watching the game because even though the Knicks tried to fight back, Indiana always had an answer, always had an open three, always had a transition basket, always was able to attack, stop the clock, and make their free throws. Now, there are a number of things you can look at during this game, and you can point to it and say, that was the point. That was the exact moment where the Knicks changed this game and was able to actually make it a game, come back into the game, steal it, and win it. Some people are going back to the first half where the Knicks were able to take the 20-point game and drop it to a 13-point game going into halftime. Other people want to say that it was based on the adjustments that Tom Thibodeau made with Delon, Wright, Landry Shamet, and when he played them. But for me, the turning point of this game was when New York put Deuce McBride into the game in that third quarter. And if you guys recall, around the 2-minute mark in the third quarter of game 3, the Knicks are still down 15 points. But at that point, the Knicks make a substitution. They take out Jalen Brunson and they put in Delon Wright. And then the lineup out there is Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Landry Shamet, Delon Wright, and Deuce McBride. Out of those players, Deuce is the player you're going to look at for any type of scoring. But he also was able to get some great defensive stops and draw some fouls as well, too. He was able to get to the line. He was able to make some threes. And Deuce McBride scored 7 points and allowed the Knicks to go into that fourth quarter only down 10. And if you know New York, down 10 points in the fourth quarter is perfect for them because they know they've been there before. They were able to overcome that, get back into the game, steal that game, and win it. And because they did it before, they now have the confidence and the belief that they can do it again. But they also needed a little bit more help. So while Deuce McBride was the turning point, the major reason New York was able to get back into this game and win it was because of Karl-Anthony Towns. He was struggling for game 3, struggling for the first 3 quarters. But when it mattered the most, in the fourth quarter, to start off that quarter, he was aggressive, looking for his shot, looking for other players, and helping New York get back into this game. And how did he do that? Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Scoring 20 points. He had 24 points for the game, and he scored 20 of those points in the fourth quarter. He went off, and he helped the Knicks get back into the game. He also helped the Knicks take the lead in the game. And then after that, it was all about hitting your free throws and getting key rebounds. Thank you to Josh Hart for all of those key rebounds. He was amazing for the Knicks off the bench. And obviously, even though he's not starting, he is still closing for New York. Like I said before, whether you're starting or coming off the bench, it doesn't matter for New York, especially when it comes to that closing lineup. If Tom Thibodeau trusts you and likes your ability, which is always the case with Josh Hart, then Hart is likely going to be part of the closing lineup for each and every game. We saw it last game in game 3, and that was an adjustment that worked for Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau made a number of adjustments last night, and a lot of them worked in New York's favor and was the main reason the Knicks were able to beat the Indiana Pacers, beating them 106-100. And now we have made this a series once again, because even though the Pacers lead this series, it is not a 3-0 deficit the Knicks are facing right now. Because the Knicks won last night, they are only down 1 game in this series to the Pacers, who lead it 2-1. And I got to remind everybody, as you see there, 3 minutes and 20 seconds in the second quarter, the Knicks are down 20 points to the Indiana Pacers. 55-35 is the score. And then the New York Post with the back page that made me smile from ear to ear. The Knicks rally from 20 points down as the Pacers cough up game 3. Chokes on them. For me, Deuce McBride and Karl-Anthony Towns were the main reasons why the Knicks were able to get back into this game. Deuce McBride and his run in that third quarter of game 3 helped the Knicks keep the game close. And then Karl-Anthony Towns, seeing that, took full advantage of it and got the Knicks back into the game by scoring 20 points in that fourth quarter. Deuce McBride off the bench last night as the Knicks win game 3. 9 points, 1 steal, +7 in 15 minutes, +7 in 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. Karl-Anthony Towns, 24 points, 20 in the fourth, 3 threes, all in the fourth, 15 rebounds, 8 in the fourth. Towns understood the assignment and got the job done for New York. He would not let the Knicks lose this game. He understood. Jalen Brunson didn't have it. A number of other players did not have it going. Mikal Bridges was not that efficient. OG Anunoby was okay, but not really getting up that many shots. Somebody else needed to do it. Somebody else needed to go off. And our captain was in foul trouble. Who else was going to do it? Step in Karl-Anthony Towns, who helped New York win this game. But another reason that Deuce McBride was so important, and I have to mention this, is because of an adjustment that Tom Thibodeau made. Jalen Brunson in that fourth quarter picked up his 5th foul with about 7 minutes and 30 seconds to go. And Tom Thibodeau put him on the bench. And we did not see Captain Clutch again until the 1 minute and 37-second mark. Now, some people may criticize Tom Thibodeau for that move. Myself, I'm not going to do that, because when Jalen Brunson was off the floor and Deuce McBride was on the floor, and we saw that adjustment, and Tom Thibodeau, by the way, could have put Jalen Brunson in a number of times before the 1 minute and 37-second mark, but he chose not to because the Knicks were doing what they needed to do. That lineup was effective out there. They were scoring, they were able to get defensive stops, and they were making it hard on the Pacers. And the lineup out there was the original starting lineup, only instead of Jalen Brunson, you had Deuce McBride. But it was effective, and Deuce was playing his role perfectly. But you gotta credit Tom Thibodeau for that. That is an adjustment that nobody thought he would make. And in my opinion, he put Jalen Brunson back into the game at the perfect time. It wasn't too late, like at the 25-second or 30-second mark. We weren't down a lot of points, but at that point, we still needed somebody else who can get a bucket. And at 1 minute and 37 seconds left, perfect timing to get Jalen Brunson back into the game. And what does he do? I think, 10, 20 seconds later, he gets the Knicks up by 2 points with a running floater shot. Exactly what you want Captain Clutch in the game for. Struggling all game, not having a really great offensive game. Not the typical Jalen Brunson game. But when it matters the most, just like Karl-Anthony Towns did, Jalen Brunson stepped up and helped New York close out this game. Not only with that shot, but with key free throws down the stretch as well, too. Now, I did mention adjustments, and I did go over one adjustment that we saw recently, but there were some other adjustments that were made during last night's game, and that was Landry Shamet and Delon Wright playing ahead of Payne. Effectively, a lineup change in the postseason we have never seen before. Tom Thibodeau does it again. Shout out to Ian Bagley of SNY for giving us this following information here. According to him, Tom Thibodeau changed his rotation, giving minutes to Landry Shamet and Delon Wright ahead of Payne. After the game, Thibodeau didn't go into great detail when asked to explain those decisions. According to Thibs, whatever gives your team the best chance to win. I know you try to put everything into a box. I don't work that way. People think I want a low-scoring game. No, I just want more points than they have. I don't care if it's low-scoring, high-scoring, medium-scoring. I just want to win. That's the bottom line. Whatever gives us the best chance to win, that's what we're going to do. And so that's what I felt was going to give us the best chance to win tonight. And that's why we did it. And one of the changes he made, like he just spoke about, was putting in Delon Wright for Jalen Brunson a number of times instead of Payne. And what did that end up doing for New York? Well, in the 13 crucial minutes that Delon Wright played, he was a +2. He was 1 for 1 from the field. He had 1 assist and he had 1 steal. Now, if you just look at the box score, you may look at that and think, that's nothing. That's not that great. That's not that effective. Well, if you're watching the game, you're watching his defense, you're watching his ability to switch on a number of different Pacers players. It's no wonder why he got those minutes. It's no wonder why he was in the game. All due respect to Cam Payne. I know at times he's able to draw offensive fouls, and at times he's able to go on a heater and hit a couple of threes. But Delon Wright, his impact on defense, his impact in terms of affecting the Pacers and what they're trying to run is just better for New York and what they're trying to do right now. We don't really need a player like Cam Payne when we're looking at the bench. We need a player like Delon Wright. But we also need a player like Delon Wright, who not only has great defense, but can run an offense. And if you need him to, can be effective in a number of different ways. I'm not saying Cam Payne can't do those things. It's just Delon Wright. He's better suited for this team right now and what we need. And speaking about something else that we needed off the bench was somebody else who can score and stretch the floor. And Tom Thibodeau made another adjustment last night by putting in another scorer that we needed. Somebody that we haven't seen in a while. And honestly, I thought we weren't going to see again. But Tom Thibodeau made the adjustment and shocked everyone in the process. He played Landry Shamet off the bench in 11 minutes. He was plus 12 off the bench, hit 1 of 2 threes, had 2 assists, and again, was a main factor in New York winning game 3 against the Pacers last night. But you want to talk effective, you want to talk impact, then we got to look at Josh Hart, who came off the bench for the first time in this postseason and gave you 5 rebounds, 2 of them offensive, 4 points on 0 shots, 2 assists, 1 steal, a plus 16, which was the game best for any player for New York. That is saying something when you're coming off the bench, you're not taking any shots, and you're just trying to do whatever you need to do out there to be effective and help your team win. And that's exactly what Josh Hart is doing. And that's why I never had any problem with Josh Hart coming off the bench or starting, because regardless, you're always going to get that same level of impact, energy, and Josh Hart doing Josh Hart things and playing with that same mindset and hustle, whether he starts or comes off the bench. And that is huge for New York. There were a number of reasons why the Knicks won this game 3 against the Indiana Pacers. Karl-Anthony Towns, Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, him coming off the bench, that adjustment, his key rebounds, both offensive and defensive, but also Tom Thibodeau and him not playing Cam Payne, him not going with Jalen Brunson earlier in that fourth quarter, but keeping him on the bench until the 1 minute and 37 second mark, rolling with Deuce McBride, rolling with Delon Wright and Landry Shamet. These are moves and changes we all wanted to see. But going with Delon Wright and Landry Shamet off the bench, making the adjustment to the starting lineup, starting Mitch and putting Josh Hart on the bench, keeping Jalen Brunson for a large part of that fourth quarter on the bench with 5 fouls, and rolling with Deuce McBride and keeping him out there because that's working. These are all things that we wanted Tom Thibodeau to do. We were hopeful for. We thought maybe they could happen, but nobody had full faith that Tom Thibodeau would actually do it. But then in game 3, a game that we absolutely needed to win, Tom Thibodeau does the unthinkable. He makes these changes. He makes these adjustments. And it's because he does these things that New York is walking away from game 3 with a victory. Tom Thibodeau was clutch for what he did for New York. And I am so thankful that he went with these adjustments and he did not go with the same starting lineup that was a net negative for this postseason. But everybody, all of the media, all of the analysts, even some Knicks fans were saying it was over, saying Indiana was going to win this series, likely going to sweep the Knicks. The Knicks had no shot, no chance. They doubted us. They doubted us again, even though New York has proven each and every time you doubt the Knicks and you say we can't do something, we prove why we can and why we deserve to be here. New York did it again last night. And now they're looking to continue to do it in game 4 against the Indiana Pacers. Not only are we going to continue to shock the world, we have made this into a series. Once game 4 rolls around, the Knicks are going to be committed and locked in to take that game as well too. Because if they're able to do that, they will give themselves back home court advantage. Exactly what we need. And if New York can continue to play like this, continue to make the right adjustments, we'll always be in the right position to be able to win games and steal some of these games. And listen to this. The Knicks, our offense, and everything we've been trying to do, it has not looked normal. It has not looked like the Knicks type of offense that we've all been accustomed to seeing during this postseason. What am I saying here? I'm saying that the Knicks have not played their best brand of basketball during this Pacers series. But somehow, we are still 2-1 in this series. I never stopped believing. My faith never wavered. I've always been here. I'm never leaving here. You want the Knicks gone. You want us eliminated? You have to beat New York 4 times. And until you do that, this series is not over. And as long as the series is active, as long as New York has an opportunity, as long as New York can still breathe in this series, they will never give up. They will continue to fight, and they will continue to try to win every game. Never stop believing in this team, because every time you do, they prove to you why you need to believe in them. The Knicks are here. They're still here, and they're not going anywhere. They believe they can still win this series, and I believe they can still win this series too. But what about you guys? Do you believe? Do you still think the Knicks have a shot, a chance, an opportunity to beat the Pacers and move on to the NBA Finals? I do. But do you? Let me know in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.